Welcome to Business Insights with Osayi Tres Omokaro, the one and only free business consultancy live radio podcast from Benin to the world. We have only one vision: to ensure that startup founders and MSMEs do business professionally and make positive and profitable impacts. Sit tight and enjoy today's episode.
Hello, you're welcome. My name is Osayi Tres Omokaro. You're welcome to this episode on Business Insight with Osayi Tres Omokaro. Yes, if you have not been following, we've had series of conversations around these different aspects of business, and all of those past episodes can be found on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube handle is youtube.com/TrescaroHQ, and some others can be found on our Instagram platforms and on our Facebook platform. Just check at Trescaro. So today we're starting something new. The last time we talked about business systems and structure for growth and scale. This time around, we understand the fact that in entrepreneurship, the leadership capacity of the founder, the MD, the boss, or the leader determines how far that organization will go. I remember back in the days where we used to talk about shares and stocks and all of that. Of course, that's still very, very, very much ongoing. You know, you see the stock prices of a company beginning to go high because of a leadership change, because some persons just came on board the leadership of that organization. So what does that mean? Who is pioneering the affair of an organization matters a great deal. You know, so today we're starting a series that we titled Developing Your Leadership Edge. Developing your leadership edge as an entrepreneur. Because the truth is, of course, as we were taught in school, in economics, we were taught that there are various factors of production. And these factors of production are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. The entrepreneur here, the responsibility of the entrepreneur is to provide leadership and management for the other three factors of production. And whether you like it or not, the entrepreneur is the determining factor in the success or failure of any entrepreneurship endeavor. So today we're going to be starting something along that path of developing your leadership edge. But before we deep dive into what we'll be doing today, I want to just first start by looking at the difference, or first the meaning of leadership and management. The meaning of leadership. Of course, leadership is a skill of leading others by example. In fact, people will say one of the ways to lead people is by example. No, it's not one of the ways. The only way to truly lead is by example. The only way to truly lead others. You know, as we go ahead, we'll find that deeper meaning of leadership. You'll see why you actually cannot lead except by example. But management, on the other hand, is an act of systematically organizing and coordinating things in an efficient manner. Then another definition for leadership is the fact that leadership is the quality of influencing people so that the objectives of an organization, the objectives of an endeavor is attained willingly and enthusiastically. We use the word in leadership. If you listen very well, you'll see that leadership always boils down to influencing people, getting people to take the actions they wouldn't have loved to take, but making them take it willingly and enthusiastically. So management, I already talked about management. Leadership, on the other hand, is the quality of influencing people. I'm emphasizing the word influence because the only thing that truly influences others is the exemplary life you live. You can, through management, control, but you can't truly influence. I used to tell people, when people truly love and respect you, they will do what you ask them to do, even in your absence. But when they are only afraid of you, they will do what you want them to do in your presence and do what they truly want to do in your absence. So that's why leadership is a game of influence. Then leadership, management on the other hand, is a discipline of managing things in the best possible manner. It is the art or skill of getting the work done through and with people. I call management managing men tactfully. Managing men tactfully. I know most times when you talk about this issue of leadership and management, because people see the love, the embrace that comes from leadership, everybody wants to tend to leadership as opposed to management. But the truth is, we are bringing this whole thing under the concept of business and entrepreneurship. I'm going to go further to look at how these two, leadership and management, how they operate. Leadership uses trust. Meanwhile, management uses control. That's one. Then secondly, leadership inspire people, while management's role is to control activity. Because nobody wants to be controlled, everybody will tell you that leadership is the best. But at the end of this, we're going to come to a conclusion as to how we must marry both. Then on the other hand, leadership inspires people, but management controls activities. You don't want to have people that are so well inspired, but yet all of the activities that are supposed to result to the funding, the finances, and the continuity of the business are not executed. Leadership requires good foresightedness, meaning the leadership comes up with a vision that will inspire us all to remain active. But management has the responsibility of controlling every one of us and ensuring that we execute and bringing the vision to reality. So in the confines of entrepreneurship and business, you need both leadership and management. You need both leadership because hopefully we appreciate the fact that a workplace should have that love. It should be a place where people aspire to go to, because all of these get these people to be actively involved in their activities. But the truth is, if the workplace is filled up with excellent leadership and all of the virtues that goes with leadership and no management, we may not have a business after a short while. So once in a while, there should be some level of confrontation. There should be some level of control. There should be some level of insistence that things must be done a certain way. I think that's where management comes in. Because we're talking about developing your leadership edge, today we're just going to focus on one aspect of leadership, and that will be effective communication. Effective communication. In communication, you must learn to be direct and use very simple terms. I happen to be a mass communicator. I studied mass communication, and one of the things they taught us right then in school, is that when you are communicating, your goal is not to bamboozle people. The goal of communication is understanding and possibly feedback. The goal of communication is to ensure that the people you are talking to get to understand what you're saying enough that they give you the feedback that you're trying to inspire from them. So you are not actually communicating because people are clapping for you, because you're using nice sounding words, because you are using vocabularies that they've not heard before. That's not communication. So within the business space, if you look at some of the documentations we were talking about the other time, these are various aspects of communication. As a leader, as an entrepreneur, it's your responsibility to communicate the vision in a simple and clear terms to the extent that everybody understands and does their part with or without having to even fall back to you. So you must be good at communicating effectively verbally. You must be good at communicating effectively in writing. The world today offers a lot around virtual engagements, the social media platforms, technology. You must understand how best to use these various platforms for communication. You must understand how to use these various platforms for communication. You must be direct. Don't speak above the people you are talking to. Don't speak above the people you're talking to. You must understand the audience you're speaking to and use words that resonate. You can't get me now to go talk to a set of doctors and I come there using the vocabularies of an engineer, as high sounding as it will look like. You may even get some accolade, but the truth is you'll be speaking jargons that they cannot relate with. So when you are to go speak to a set of persons, or when you are managing a group of people, you must come to terms with their level of insights. Even though you're not going to remain with them, your goal is to uplift them, but you must first get that connection. So the people you lead must understand what you say at every point in time. And as a leader, another way you will have to use to develop your communication strategy is the fact that you must communicate frequently. When we do trainings on public speaking, we say this: if you want to develop your public speaking ability, you must do well to talk more often. Look for every opportunity to speak. Every opportunity you have to speak is an opportunity for you to hone your skill. It's an opportunity for you to better your craft. So you cannot run away from opportunities to speak. So you must communicate frequently. In fact, you have to speak to your audience every day. Thank God for social media. Thank God for various digital platforms that allows you. Of course, nothing says you cannot go live on YouTube, on IG, on Facebook, on various platforms. Just consistently share your thoughts. In fact, a research says 90% of people that responded to a particular research about public speaking said they would rather die than to speak in the public. It's as frightening as that. Some of us who happen to have demystified or overcome that stage fright, people think that, you have attained a level where you're no longer afraid of the stage. Stage fright is something you never overcome. But with consistency, you can put it behind you with consistency. Then when it comes to entrepreneurship and communication, you must encourage feedbacks. I always use this: none of us is good enough to do everything perfectly. None of us is good enough. When you attain that level where you don't need any feedback, where you don't need to be corrected, obviously you have become God, and every one of us should serve you. So you must encourage feedbacks. Allow people give you feedback. Let people tell you how they perceive you. And in managing feedback, I will advise, never take it to heart. Don't get it too personal. Just understand that this is how this person is perceiving. This is how this person is receiving what I am giving. But welcome it, use it to improve what you're doing and better your craft. No matter how well you speak, no matter how good you are at dishing out instructions, if you go against the things you say, before you know it, others begin to emulate you. In fact, I had this inspiration within the week that until your words make so much power with you, it can never make so much impact on others. So when you give a promise and you fail to fulfill it, Don't be surprised when you ask people to do things and they are not doing it. So walk your talk. Let your words be your bounds. When we talk about the word integrity, a lot of us make the mistake of believing that when you say this person is a person of integrity, it means the person doesn't make mistake. No, there is no human who have attained that level of not making mistakes. But when you say you are a person of integrity, it means when I make a promise and I am not meeting up to it, I'll be the first to reach out to let you know why I'm unable to meet up and what I am doing to correct it. That's what it means to be a person of integrity. So make your words be your bones. Let people say, no, if he said it, we can go to sleep. So walk your talk. Walk your talk. But when we say walk your talk, it doesn't mean you are not going to make mistakes. It doesn't mean you're not going to make promises sometimes and be unable to meet them. It just means that when I'm unable to meet them, that's what makes me human. I must be able to own up and not pass the buck. Because truth is, excuses are always there to validate the reason why you will be a failure. So you are going to either accept excuses or you're going to accept results. Then another way you can drive your communication down the line is being a storyteller. Being a storyteller. In communication, the easiest way to drive in what you're saying is to look for a way to embellish it with a story. Sometimes people will forget what you said, but they will not forget the story with which you explained what you were saying. So for us listening at home, I want you to talk back to us through text message, WhatsApp, or calls. Let us know how you have experienced leadership even in your workplace. You may be the leader if you have just heard something that most likely is the reason why you are not getting the results you're getting. Or if you are one of the followers and for some of the things you are learning, you are beginning to see how your boss has become the reason why you guys are not growing. Feel free to call and share, because so that we can handle some of these things. Because the truth is, a lot of businesses are struggling. Part of the inspiration that brought us into doing this is because we want to see how we can help a lot of businesses to take off, so we are able to increase employment in our city. And obviously, I've never seen a banker or someone who is so engaged, who leaves the house in the morning and comes back around 7 from work tired, getting involved in some frivolous activities. That's because when we are able to engage people productively, we have just saved the society from crime and criminality. It's the reason why we do what we do. All of the sacrifice of coming here to share these thoughts, that's the primary reason, to see how we can help MSMEs and businesses to begin to make profitable impacts. And as you make profitable impact and expand your business, the first thing you want to do is to hire more hands. So for every dream, for every vision God gives to you, the goal is not to just feed you. The goal is that when you begin to engage that vision, you begin to pull other men who God has assigned to that vision to begin to get attracted to you. For me, I'm just here. A lot of you are hearing me. Some of you are watching me. If I tell you the number of persons that are here with me just because God gave us this idea, these persons, as we are here at the moment, they are engaged productively. Some are getting to learn, some are even helping me to better off what I'm doing. But the truth is, we are all put together because of a vision. So that is it. An entrepreneur, for me, I call them the fathers of the society. So I particularly have said this several times, that I hardly will respect or thumb up for anybody because of the amount of money you have. And that's not to say I don't celebrate wealthy people, but I would rather appreciate somebody for the number of jobs you are creating. So when some names comes up, you see a private person hiring more than even some state governments. What that tells me is that because somebody chose to follow a dream that God placed in their hearts, so many thousands of families are able to pay school fees, are able to raise their children, are able to live their life. So developing entrepreneurs is our greatest contribution to bettering our society. And that's why we exist at Tres Omokaro Systems and Solutions.